Shalom Aleichem, peace be upon you, and welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Shawn. Today we continue our study, if you will, for the Feast of Weeks, or Shavuot. And today we're going to continue a tradition that we started last year. And I don't know if anyone else does this. I highly doubt it. But we're going to read the story of the flood of Noah from the Dead Sea Scrolls, or Book of Jubilees, found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which consists of reading chapter 5 and 6 out of the Book of Jubilees. Now, it may seem strange, like why would we be studying the flood of Noah out of the Dead Sea Scrolls for Shavuot, for the Feast of Weeks? And the reason being is because as this story ends, it talks about the Feast of Weeks and how it is to be remembered and observed for all generations, for all time. And I just find it interesting and fascinating that this was known and practiced before the law was even given at Mount Sinai. And we see other feasts that have kind of like extra thoughts put towards them. As an example, we have prophecies in the prophets about the Feast of Tabernacles and how that will be celebrated in the kingdom to come, when Messiah is reigning and ruling physically here on earth. And so the feasts are very, very important. And it's unfortunate that the church has lost kind of sight of this over the years. Not so much Feast of Weeks, because most churches, most denominations at least recognize Pentecost, kind of the fulfillment of the Feast of Weeks. But there's more meat here. There's more to know. There's more to learn. And it's unfortunate that many Christians don't get to have this. And so we do. And our little community here does. And we're blessed to get to do it. So, without further delay, I'm just going to read this story to you from the Book of Jubilees about the story of Noah, the flood of Noah specifically, which is very interesting material here from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so I hope you'll be blessed. All right. Open up your hearts. Let's begin. Starting in chapter 5, and we'll read through chapter 6. Chapter 5, verse 1. And it came to pass, when the children of men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the angels of God saw them on a certain year of this Jubilee, that they were beautiful to look upon. And they took themselves wives of all whom they chose, and they bare unto them sons, and they were giants. So please note, I'm not going to interrupt a lot for this study. I just mostly want you to listen, but I just want to point out this. The Dead Sea Scrolls are some of the oldest manuscripts we've ever found. Okay? Which means that those who had possession of these a long time ago, long before Christ, believed that the sons of God who came down and intermingled with the women and produced the giants were in fact angels. Which of course we all know this, we've done the study, we're not ignorant about this as so many are, but it's just proof that it's just not some weird thing we're coming up with. This was the common belief by the Jewish rabbis, if you read their writings, by the early church, if you read their writings. I mean, the only people who are confused about this are modern-day Christians. But throughout history, this was always just known, that this is what happened. And this is why it was giants that were produced instead of normal human beings, or Nephilim. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to try my best not to interrupt. Verse 2. And lawlessness increased on the earth, and all flesh corrupted its way. Alike men and cattle and beasts and birds and everything that walks on the earth, all of them corrupted their ways and their orders, and they began to devour each other. And lawlessness increased on the earth, and every imagination of the thoughts of all men was thus evil continually. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, and all flesh had corrupted its order, and all that were upon the earth had wrought all manner of evil before his eyes. And he said that he would destroy man and all flesh upon the face of the earth which he had created. But Noah found grace before the eyes of the Lord. And against the angels whom he had sent upon the earth he was exceedingly wroth. And he gave commandment to root them out of all their dominion. And he bade us to bind them in the depths of the earth. And behold, they are bound in the midst of them, and are kept separate. Please note, what does Peter say? The Apostle Peter, in his epistles, they are bound. Right? The angels who fell are bound. That's exactly what the Dead Sea Scrolls are telling us here, the book of Jubilees. Continuing on, verse 7. And against their sons went forth a command from before his face that they should be smitten with the sword, and be removed from under heaven. And he said, My spirit shall not always abide on man, for they are also our flesh, and their days shall be 120 years. And he sent his sword into their midst, that each should slay his neighbor. And they began to slay each other till they all fell by the sword, and were destroyed from the earth. And their fathers were witnesses of their destruction. And after this they were bound in the depths of the earth forever, until the day of the great condemnation, which judgment is executed on all those who have corrupted their ways and their works before the Lord. So please note, what you're witnessing here, what you're seeing here, is the giants were kind of destroyed. God sent a sword among them that they would destroy one another. Their parents had to watch, it says, which would be what? The fallen angels. And then the fallen angels are bound, it says, which is what the canon of scriptures teach. They are bound until the day of judgment. Now, I don't know what the loosing of these angels looks like, but I'm imagining it's not great. But it appears, when we read prophecy and we read the Dead Sea Scrolls, that they might be loosed upon the earth. Let's continue on. Verse 13. And he destroyed all from their places, and there was not one left whom he judged not according to their wickedness. And he made for all his works a new and righteous nature, so that they should not sin in their whole nature forever, but should be all righteous, each in his kind alway. And the judgment of all this is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness, even the judgment of all who depart from the path, which is ordained for them to walk in. And if they walk not therein, judgment is written down for every creature and for every kind. And there is nothing in heaven or on earth or in light or in darkness or in Shavuot or in the depths or in the place of darkness, which is not judged. And all their judgments are ordained and written and engraved. In regard to all he will judge, the great according to his greatness, and the small according to his smallness, and each according to his way. And he is not one who will regard the persons of any, nor is he one who will receive gifts. If he says that he will execute judgment on each, if one gave everything that is on the earth, he will not regard the gifts or the person of any, nor accept anything with his hands, for he is a righteous judge. So please note, in other words, he's not like an earthly judge who can be bribed and coerced. He's the righteous king He's going to judge righteously. He doesn't care who you are, big or small, great or not, rich or poor. You will be judged according to what you have done. And the children of Yisrael, it has been written and ordained, if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive their transgressions and pardon all their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy to all who turn from their guilt once each year. And as for all those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no man's person was accepted save that of Noah alone, for his person was accepted in behalf of his sons, whom God saved from the waters of the flood on his account. For his heart was righteous in all his ways, according as it was commanded regarding him, and he had not departed from aught that was ordained for him. And the Lord said that he would destroy everything which was upon the earth, both men and cattle and beasts and fowls of the air, and that which moveth on the earth. And he commanded Noah to make him an ark, that he might save himself from the waters of the flood. And Noah made the ark in all respects as he commanded him, and in the 27th Jubilee of the years, in the 5th week, in the 5th year, on the new moon of the 1st month. And he entered in the 6th year thereof, and in the 2nd month, on the new moon of the 2nd month, till the 16th, and he entered. And all that we brought to him into the ark, and the Lord closed it from without on the 17th evening. So please note, something that's always important to notice about Noah, and it goes with the theme that I've been pushing for 10 years, is that actions matter because actions demonstrate what we truly believe. So here's my question. Noah believed God, right, and had faith, but did Noah have to then do something with his faith? He had to build the boat, did he not? He was told by God to do it. He believed God. He believed the flood was coming. He preached righteousness and holiness. And then he put his hands to the plow and did the work. And then as a result, God is the one that shut him into the ark. I just have no more patience for laziness, for those who want the Savior but don't want any transformation in their life. I'm tired of the excuses as to why people can't live a righteous and holy life and practice these things and practice disciplines and prayers and fasting. Anyway, let's continue on. And the Lord opened 7 floodgates of heaven, and the months of the fountains of the great deep, 7 months in number. And the floodgates began to pour down water from heaven 40 days and 40 nights. And the fountains of the deep also sent up waters until the whole world was full of water. And the waters increased upon the earth 15 cubits did the waters rise above all the high mountains. And the ark was lifted up on the earth, and it moved upon the face of the water. And the water prevailed on the face of the earth 5 months, 150 days. And the ark went and rested on the top of Lubar, one of the mountains of Arat. And on the new moon, in the 4th month, the fountains of the great deep were closed, and the floodgates of heaven were restrained. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abyss of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend into the deep below. And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountain were seen. And on the new moon of the 1st month, the earth became visible, and the waters disappeared from the earth, in the 5th week, in the 7th year thereof. And on the 17th day in the 2nd month, the earth was dry. And on the 27th thereof he opened the ark, and sent forth from it beasts and cattle and birds, and every moving thing. Chapter 6. And on the new moon of the 3rd month he went forth from the ark, and built an altar on that mountain. And he made atonement for the earth, and he took a kid, and he made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth. For everything that had been on it had been destroyed, save those that were in the ark with Noah. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar, and he took an ox and a goat and a sheep and kids and salt and turtle dove and young of the dove, and placed a burnt sacrifice on the altar, and poured thereon an offering mingled with oil, and sprinkled wine and stewed frankincense over everything, and caused a goodly Savior to arise, acceptable before the Lord. And the Lord smelt the goodly savour. And he made a covenant with him, that there should not be any more a flood to destroy the earth, that all the days of the earth, seed time and harvest, should never cease, cold and heat and summer and winter, and day and night should not change their order, nor cease forever. And you, increase ye and multiply upon the earth, become many upon it, and be a blessing upon it. The fear of you and the dread of you I will inspire in everything that is on the earth and in the sea. And behold, I give unto you all beasts and winged things, and everything that moves on the earth, and the fish in the water, and all things for food, as the green herbs. I have given you all things to eat. But flesh, with the life thereof, with the blood, you shall not eat. For the life of all flesh is in the blood, lest your blood of your lives be required. At the hand of every man, at the hand of every beast, I will require the blood of man. Please note, God takes very seriously the blood. And the more we learn about the blood and the genetics and just what's in the blood, the more we understand why this might be. But this is not just like a old past thought, okay? This carries on into the Torah, into the law. And then when we get to the early church, if you go read Acts chapter 15, that is one of the commandments that comes down from James. When Paul comes to Jerusalem to have some things cleared up as far as doctrine is concerned, one of the few things that James says to go make these new converts, these new Christians, adhere to is, don't eat the blood. Let's continue. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God he made man. And you, increase ye and multiply on the earth. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh, and he made a covenant before the Lord God forever, throughout all the generations of the earth, in this month. And on this account he spake to thee, that thou should make a covenant with the children of Israel, in this month upon the mountain, with an oath, that thou shouldest sprinkle blood upon them, because of all the words of the covenant which the Lord made with them forever. And this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, and that you should not eat on any day any blood of beast or birds or cattle during all the days of the earth. And the man who eats the blood of a beast or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land. And do thou command the children of Israel to eat no blood, so that their names and their seed may be before the Lord and our God continually. And for this law there is no limited days, for it is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, so that they may continue supplicating on your behalf with blood before the altar every day. And at the time of morning and evening they shall seek forgiveness on your behalf perpetually before the Lord, that they may keep it and not be rooted out. And he gave to Noah and his sons a sign that there shall be again not a flood again on the earth. And he set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it in all the days of the earth. For this reason it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year, to renew the covenant every year. So please note, here's the command. Observe the Feast of Weeks. Verse 17, let me read it again. For this reason. For what reason? Why is it ordained that we do this? Well, according to Jubilees here, from the Dead Sea Scrolls, it has to do with that covenant that God made, that he would not flood the earth ever again. And he set his bow in the sky, which of course has been usurped by perversity, as this is how Satan works. But that's a whole nother conversation. But he says, for this reason, you need to observe the Feast of Weeks, a reminder of God's grace. That's what the harvest is. It's a reminder of God's grace and mercy and provision. That's really what Feast of Weeks is about at the end of the day. It's about mercy. It's about grace. It's about God will provide. And He is trustworthy and He is faithful. Verse 18, and this whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the days of Noah, 26 Jubilees and 5 weeks of years. Now, if this is true, what Jubilees is telling us, that this was celebrated in heaven from the beginning of time, and we have prophecy in the prophets telling us that we'll be celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles in the millennial kingdom. I mean, my friends, let me ask you, if the feasts are eternal, meaning they will be celebrated for all eternity in the kingdom of heaven, are they not important for us to at least observe and acknowledge, and at least have some basic understanding of what they are, and what they foreshadow, and what they represent? Come on. Continuing on, and Noah and his sons observed it for 7 Jubilees and 1 week of years till the day of Noah's death. And from the day of Noah's death his sons did away with it until the days of Abraham. And they eat blood. But Abraham observed it, and Isaac and Jacob and his children observed it up unto thy days. And in thy days the children of Israel forgot it until they celebrated it anew on this mountain. And do thou command the children of Israel to observe this festival and all their generations for a commandment unto them, 1 day in the year in the month they should celebrate the festival, for it is the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of First Fruits. This feast is twofold and of a double nature. According to what is written and engraven concerning it, celebrate it. For I have written in the book of the first law, and that which I have written for thee, that thou shouldest celebrate it in this season 1 day in the year. And I explained to thee its sacrifices, that the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month 1 day in every year. And on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. And Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And that is where we will stop our study for this morning. There's more to this story, and I have done a complete study on the Book of Jubilees, which you can find in the archives. So if you were to go to the YouTube channel and search for Jubilees, you'll find a whole long study there. I think you'll find it fascinating and very interesting. So if you want to know more about this story and what the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Jubilees, have to say about that, about creation and that time period, go check out that study. Listen, I pray that you've been blessed this week. I'm going to do my best to rebroadcast one more episode where we talk about actual Pentecost from the book of Acts. So Lord willing, I'll get that out to you this weekend. But I pray you've been blessed this week, and you've been strengthened, and your relationship with God has been strengthened. That is my prayer, that this podcast would go forth and pierce your hearts and cause you to draw nearer to Him. Thank you for listening. Thank you to those of you who pray. I need it. Trust me, I need it more than you possibly could understand. I need it for so many reasons. God knows them. And for those of you who support the Mission of Truth financially, this couldn't happen without you. It's humbling that you have continued to provide for me and my family and support this work. Peace and grace be with all of you. And until next time, God bless.